But okay, let's talk about Iran. Let's get into this.
Okay.
The moment we all been waiting for. So hit your like button and share. Okay, everybody knows by now, America, Israel waged war on Iran a couple days ago, bombed, killed the supreme leader, then killed the new supreme leader. Iran retaliated and has strikes on different military bases throughout the Middle East, Qatar, UAE. They bombed the oil facility in Saudi Arabia today.
Saudi.
Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about it on Blackout for sure.
For sure.
We have to, because we have to, in detail on the geopolitical side and different things of that nature. But just in short, this is something that, like you said, Ian, I don't think it was too much of a surprise. I mean, they had the ships there for 3 weeks just parked out. So I don't think it was like, oh, what the hell just happened? But still a little, a little shocking that it would just escalate so quickly. But, when you have orders, you must follow them. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that on Wednesday. But what's the implication for the stock market?
Nothing. Controversial take, but this is already, and I want to give complete credit to Shelly on Red Panda Stock Club call. Tune in every Sunday to get breaking news and information. She was bringing this up 4 months ago, but this has been priced in already. And I put it on Instagram, and I didn't know it was going to be such a backlash for it. But why are we looking for the investment play on war and genocide? I was the same one who said don't invest in Palantir for the same reason. But if you want to talk about alpha and edge in a scenario, this is not 1992. The Palantir, Northrop Grumman play, General Dynamics, Exxon, that was priced in a year ago. That's not the move. So as far as the implication, and it's interesting that it happened on Saturday and not Friday and not a Monday, because he knows what impact that would have had on the market. It was cushioned over the weekend. So by the time we got to the futures market on Sunday night, oil popped up, but it's also reverting back to the mean now. So in terms of 3 months, we won't even be talking about the situation and how it's affected the market. Most of the indexes rose as a result after the midday drop, and we were good. This isn't April of last year. It's not one of those situations. Now, if we can, my concern is if because of the situation we enter up in a half-decade war, that's going to have some implications for sure. But this week, none at all. But what do you guys think?
It sounds like you're being facetious when you say nothing, but
I'm dead ass serious.
I'm with you. I mean, when we think about the market that we've seen, especially since we've had Market Mondays, and we've talked about this before, think about all the things that should have created a market. You had a pandemic, you had global conflict, you had an alleged assassination attempt on a candidate.
Yep. You got a recession that was not announced.
A recession that happened, a bear market, which was quick. You had obviously a bull market. You had Liberation Day, right? What Liberation Day looked like, the aftermath of that, and comparing it to this, right? Watching the news on Saturday, it felt very oh my gosh, where are we headed for the market, right? Obviously, you pray for the people's lives who are being lost, right? In war, there's always going to be casualties, and you think about that first. Then it's where are we headed with this? How are we going for a downturn Monday? And then all Sunday night, you're looking at it, and around 7 o'clock, you see those futures, and it's down, and then around 10 o'clock, you're like, wait, this isn't really. And you know what's funny? It didn't move the needle, and then your post came up about it being priced in on my phone, and I was like, people got to understand that part, right? There's going to be a separation. There's going to be a separation of emotion and investing.
Yeah.
And this is one of those stories. Like I got a few texts that are like, yo, should we sell everything? I'm like, you don't do anything.
No.
Don't do anything. Let this thing play out. But I mean, the market is resilient. Here's my question to you, Ian. Have you ever seen it this resilient? Like this 5-year stretch, have you ever seen it this resilient?
No, but it's this resilient because they're waiting for the mass exodus. And when they finally announce the recession, he will have given his people, and we can talk about the Kalshi prediction market scandal that's kind of going on.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
But it's also resilient because it's artificially being propped up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's not sustainable. It's not resilient because fundamentals are strong.
Solely because of the economic factor.
It's being artificially.
Wait, which fundamentals are
American economy?
In what aspect?
$1.2 trillion in credit card debt, 42%, as you guys reported, of college students can't find a job. Debt to GDP is at 150%, and the normal baseline by 2035 should be 220%. America's broke, and most of the companies are broken underneath them.
All right,
Shotty, I got corporate screen.
All right. Well, can I go back?
Yeah, of course, my brother.
So
pause.
Are corporate earnings gaining or are they losing in the past year? Has inflation gone down? But you could use those metrics, but
even the corporate earnings thing can be they're buying from each other, they're manipulating.
Finish that.
Hold on, guys. Can we get along? Because I don't want the interwebs to not get along.
This is a great point. No, it's a great point. This is a great point. Finish that.
They're buying from each other.
Listen, if I got a fucking chip, right? Let's be real. If I got an H200, Shotty has a R200. Troy, you got a T200. I give Shotty $2 billion. Rashad gives you $3 billion, and you give me $5 billion. Even I never wanted to say it because it was NVIDIA. The circular economy thing is complete fucking bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
And that's all fair. I'm not knocking that. In fact, I was the one. Remember, I was like circular economy, like
it's a circle jerk.
That's not the entire economy. In fact, earlier we were talking about the broad spread of the economy, right? When we're talking about industrials, those are moving too. That has nothing to do with the circular chip movement, and those are still moving, right? But they all are related to AI, right? If we're talking about energy, look at what GEV's done. Look what Caterpillar's done, right? If we're talking about look at industrial. Look at I mean, we're actually watching the growth happen. It's happening. Right. I'm saying so. It's happening.
You can have a stronger economy and stronger corporate earnings. I'm gonna sound like Bernie Sanders, partially pushed up through corporate buybacks, and the shit be inflated.
Fair. But I'm just saying it still shows resilience. It could fall.
Yeah, no, I mean, I shout to Ben Carson. The things that the market has been resilient through. Kuwaiti conflict in 1998, Afghanistan war in 2001, Iraq war 2003, Syrian civil war 2011, Iraq war 2013, Ukraine crisis 2014, Yemen 2014, Hamas 2023, COVID 2020. I agree 1,000%. I've always say that the market is rigged to stay up. Even though the market has been this resilient, I haven't in my life seen, and I'm pro hyper concentration. I've never seen this much focus and hyper concentration on a few companies, and no one mentions 200 of the other companies and how they're doing. And the biggest lesson in all this, the war, AI, is find a group of companies that are AI war destruction proof. That's the real lesson. McDonald's is one of them. Amgen is one of them. Lilly's one of them. I think NVIDIA is one of them. But pick 4 and be good.
Do you think he will allow, when I say he, the president, with his ego and his narcissism, do you think he will allow the market to tank? I feel like he will make sure that he puts in restrictions and make sure that this thing stays afloat.
Like not announcing a recession, like Biden did.
By any means necessary. I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think?
Some things is out of your control. He's going to try his hardest. Of course, any president tries the hardest. That's not just him. That's Biden. That's Obama.
Joe set us back.
Anybody. Every president's going to try their hardest. But some things are out of your control. Even how he manipulates the market. At a certain point, you can't manipulate everything. If that was the case, there would never be a bull market. There would never be a bear market.
Mm-hmm.
George Bush didn't want that to happen. He didn't want that to happen. That's not.
See, I'm with you. There should not be a bull market, but something in my mind tells me they actually want this to get better opportunities to position themselves to buy
for
and gain more.
themselves. The same way Rumsfeld wanted that.
You're talking about short-term market manipulation. He's done
allegedly. We're suggesting that could happen.
He's done that several different times.
He's doing it now.
But that's different from a prolonged bear market. He doesn't want a prolonged bear market.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying what you're.
His ego doesn't want it, but
his ego, right? He's not going to allow that to happen. I feel like.
But I don't know if it might be out of his control. At a certain point, like I said, the president does have tremendous power, but doesn't have all of the power in the world.
True, but this is just so unprecedented. When you look back to Liberation Day, when you look at these tariff fiascos, when you look to a guy who's saying, "Hey, it's a good day to buy," and we watch the market just go on a tear. Yo, the Dow's at 50,000. Here's where we're at. It's like he's not just saying these things. It feels like maybe he is, but then I'm like. Right.
Look, he couldn't help crypto. No matter what they did, they put all their might into it. This is the most crypto-friendly administration in the history ever.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin, same price, lower than what it was when he first came into office. That's a telltale sign that sometimes, no matter how much you want something to happen, some things are out of your control.
Great.
Yeah. But that's a good example. But I might even argue, just to play God's advocate here, that they already ran up to $6 billion before.
He made
their family personally is going to do it,
right?
He made billions of dollars. I'm saying for the crypto industry.
Oh,
there's a crypto industry and there's a crypto lobby. Even people like Robinhood and Coinbase.
Yeah,
they're lobbyists.
Yeah,
and the administration tried to help crypto as much as it could, and it hasn't helped.
We're still early.
It's still early, but it's almost.
We'll see
2 years at a certain point. It's like
he's been in one. This is year 2 for him.
Yeah.
So let's see at the end of his term where we're at, because that would be the telltale.
But no, he does not want the stock market to crash. No, he
gonna prop that shit.
But we'll see. And like I said, we will talk about Iran on blackout. The other side of the conversation.
The other side of what conversation? I gotta call my dad and legal. But I'm with you. You my dog. Through the fire. But I gotta restricted airspace. Yeah, for sure. Because it's a conversation that we need to have. It's tough to have as to the underpinning of why and why now.
Why now? The logistics of it, the countries that are affected, the chess pieces that are moving.
Yep,
it's very interesting. That's one of those things about social media. It's like they'll give you a tea leaf or something, and then it's like, nah, I gotta go figure this out. Let me go a deeper dive into, is this real? Yeah.
Build an AI-proof, war-proof portfolio. That is my investment advice of the year that is not moved regardless of what happens. It's tough to do, but if you listen to me and need insight, go to ianinvest.com and join Red Panda. But that is your assignment for this year, is to find 4 companies that are indestructible and unshakable regardless of what happens geopolitically. That is your assignment for this year.
The Clintons gave their deposition.
Saw that.
How was that? You talk about it Wednesday?
Yeah, we talk about Wednesday.
It happened. Yeah. It happened. I don't know nothing.
But even on the Iran thing, like, I feel like if you don't know by now, then there's not even no point of us really even talking about it, because America has the stupidest citizens in the history of any civilization.
That's what?
That's a bit much.
At scale.
That's egregious.
America,
that's a bit much.
America's not educated.
There's a large portion of the country that's not. Yeah.
At scale. And so the fact that they was able to pull this off, and there's still a lot of people that are perfectly fine with it, is nothing to say anyway.
They have trained through measures of food, water. We talked about on Blackout, Wi-Fi, birth control. I don't know if you guys saw that even the Depo-Provera shot has allegedly 43% more chance of giving women brain tumors. And the Rockefeller Institution owning the American education system, if the citizens are quote unquote uneducated, it is done by design as a part of depopulation.
Yeah.
Tell them what you think they should know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They buy up all the media companies, so any information that you get is filtered a certain way as well, allegedly.
It's like, hey guys, let's
COVID.
bomb a nuclear facility for a country that doesn't have nuclear bombs, and then let's bomb the country so they don't get nuclear bombs. But they've been 2 weeks away from nuclear bombs since 1996.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
And you obliterated them in June.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
weapons of mass destruction all over again, right?
Maybe there's a new definition for that.
Yeah. What stocks are going to benefit from Iran? You just talked about how you don't think any stocks will benefit, but are there any stocks?
I didn't say any, but I want to be very clear. And for those of you who be like, well, Apple has done evil, and I've talked about that too. I talked about Palantir before all y'all had all this insight. I was the one saying this shit because I was doing it beforehand. I talked about the ills of investing and the cobalt mining and all the beers, and I get you. But I want to be clear. Okay, the stocks that you guys want to hear, Palantir, Lockheed, AVAV, fell apart, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, the trade was there months ago. Months. Like I got sources there telling me, yo, troops get moved here. So if I knew this was going to happen weeks ago, when you think Alex Karp fucking knew? Skate to where the puck is going to be, not to the. By the time you get the news, it's been filtered through the channels that they are allowed to say on their broad airways. It's too late. You got to go find the next trade. You got to find the fucking dinosaur trade and the next viral outbreak. That's an issue. This isn't. So, of course, Palantir had a little pop today, but it's not like 2012 where this news would have given you a 15 or 20% bump. Even the futures market, it popped up on Sunday. It's already regressing to the mean. We'll probably be back in a 64, 62 range in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So it's too late.
Yeah. It's too late. I feel like we've had this conversation like 4 times in the past year when it was like, hey, if he's elected, what companies do we think we should be looking at? Yeah. Here go the companies. Then he is elected and like, hey, he's big, right, on defense. He's big on war. Here are the companies. Then they bomb in June, right, allegedly obliterate. Hey, those are the companies, right? These are the companies. And Raytheon, I know you gave a great list. I would add Raytheon in there as well, RTX. Even Boeing you might even want to add. But it's the same companies. It's the same companies. I like the post you put up this morning.
Already been in there. And this is the real thing. An amazing interview that you guys had with the gentleman who talked about exits. The other part that's not being talked about, all the money on these wars are private institutions. All like the 50 X's, they're not public. They're not letting the public get to their private coffers like that anymore. It's not happening. Now, if you got an Andrew at $11 or $8 a few years ago, and now you're seeing an upswing for when they're going to onboard and be a part of the publicly traded market, you would have saw a swing up there. But a 5 to 7% move isn't a hell of, like, put in chat. Look where AVAV was yesterday in comparison to today. Fell apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The best moves, like those deals and conversations that are happening, the real gains are in a private market. But now you have to learn how to not get screwed out of your private gains, even on an exit. So y'all been on fire.
They thought that they would have a private company like Anthropic under pressure, giving them a deadline. That didn't really work out as well. Right now, I was telling him earlier, like Anthropic is the #1 app in the App Store. It was number 200 in January. They said no to the government. OpenAI did something different, but Anthropic said no, and now they're the number one app.
And
It's
it shows
right.
you how desperately OpenAI needs the capital and how much debt they've incurred. Because that's what happens when you take an idea that isn't solely your creation. It doesn't work out in your favor. And as a result, I think Anthropic is going to become a fan favorite. Some people were saying it was bad business to not do the deal with the government. But there's an investor class and hedge fund, pension fund, fund of fund space that doesn't want to have AI be a catalyst for murder.
Yeah.
And it's like I always say, you can't do a good deal with a bad person. If you're a company that is trying to like really pitch yourself as democratizing, artificial intelligence, and now you're working with the CIA
Where
publicly, like you can't do a good deal with a bad person. Why would you? The guy starts a war for no reason. Like, why would you want your name attached to it? Like you said, I think that speaks a lot about Sam Altman and his character, but also the desperate move that they have to make because they're like trying so hard to just attach themselves to something that it's like, okay, I'll run to this. Like when you know that you got a good product and you know that you're confident, you don't just run to anything in the moment of like, yo, get down and lay down.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta have enough courage to walk away sometimes.
That's a fact. It was like, oh, you won't do it, I will. You won't do it, I will.
Immediately, like a thirsty little.
And even they put the deadline for them on Friday. Obviously, we saw the strike happen on Saturday, but they were still using Anthropic. They're gonna wean off using it, but they're still using it now. I think it's within the next 3 months it'll be completely banned for all government officials, but they're still using it now.
Man, I've been a big fan of OpenAI for the longest, since 2021. Think of how crazy it has to be to have all that compute, but you can't use that compute and intellectual property to find a business model to make you not do a deal to help kill people. You got all this fucking genius compute, which when they go to court, Elon, and that's another big threat if you look at the SWOT analysis. What if that court case doesn't go well?
With OpenAI and Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're cash strapped, you're fighting someone who has a lot of capital and access to capital on hand, and his trajectory is going up and momentum is in his favor. When Sam had a bright idea, he's losing. It reminds me, shout to Freeway. It reminds me when Freeway and 50 were both coming out and Freeway had that little lead and then 50 just took off. How do you drop this? Like this OpenAI is the equivalent of Microsoft operating system in the early 1990s. How the hell do you lose this lead? Anthropic turns down the deal and you run over there like a groupie to him and say, oh, I'll do
it. Have they lost the lead? Technically, no.
I would say the fanfare isn't there the way it was.
Yes.
2 years prior.
6 months ago, right? Like if it wasn't 2 months ago, it was, hey, Gemini is here. And they really got this thing, this nano banana is crazy. Right. And what they're doing is pretty impressive. And they're using TPUs. And that was the story. And now it's, Claude, it's pretty superior in some large language model theories. It's like, okay, well, now it's Claude. They still are doing, I think, 800 million, some crazy number. And I think
that's great, but it doesn't go to the bottom line number of, okay, hypothetically, if y'all was at Tao and 19 Keys call you and say, boy, Tron Rashad, you hear Tucker Carlson ask Ian what happened with the murder at Red Panda? Would you back away from me or would you come closer? When Tucker asked the question about what happened with the engineer and a acceptable answer wasn't given, that was one of the telltale signs of decay in brand trust there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, 100%. The brand, it feels under attack. And the more he speaks, there was a time when he didn't speak as much, and now he's everywhere and he's speaking. They might want to sit him down just for a little bit. Just for a little bit.
Yeah.